Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Rams Talk podcast. We've got another preview today. Obviously, our next fixture is away from home, an easy trip to Elland Road to face Leeds United. I'm joined today by Billy Reid, a big Leeds supporter, does a lot of stuff on social media with podcasts and different accounts here and there. So, Billy, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, no, it's great to be here.
I guess we should probably jump right into it. Obviously, we all know what Leeds have been up to the past few seasons with Premier League, coming down from the Premier League, getting into the playoff final. This season, how's it been going so far? If you could summarise it in a few words for us, how happy are you so far?
Well, it's an interesting one because I don't think there's a lot of Leeds fans who are super happy, but until a few days ago, we were first in the table. So it's a bit of a weird one where we're still doing pretty well. Like we're still obviously in that kind of automatic promotion push, but I think a lot of Leeds fans think we should be doing better. So yeah, I'd say probably 6 or 7 out of 10, like happiness, just because we know how much potential this squad has, and we're just not quite like pulling away, or we're still kind of in a big battle for those automatic promotion. When I think a lot of fans would like to see us win the title and think we should win the title.
I was going to say, so start the season expectations, were they sort of to run away with it, really?
Well, I don't think any Leeds fan is optimistic enough to ever think we're going to run away with it. We all kind of know Leeds and know that there's going to be a battle regardless. But I think a lot of fans did think we should come first, especially because it's Daniel Farke's second year, and a bit of stability. And also because like the teams coming down didn't look quite as strong as the teams going up. So it seemed like we definitely should be winning the title. And I think a lot of fans still think that.
And obviously recent results was a bit of a shock defeat to Blackburn.
Yeah.
What was like what went wrong? What went wrong in that fixture?
Well, the thing is, it's the difference between our home form and our away form. Like it's just chalk and cheese, like how kind of different it is. Like at home, it doesn't feel like anyone can lay a glove on us. It just feels like every game is super easy. Like I think I went to watch Leeds v QPR and they didn't have like a shot. Like we played Sheffield United at home. Like they're probably, I would say, like they're my favourites for the title now, and they're definitely going to be like in that promotion conversation. But at home, we kind of swatted them away. It felt like. But then we go away from home and it's a completely different story. Well, I think a lot of teams have struggled away from home this season, so it's not just us. But it just feels like a completely different team. We're nowhere near like as dominant. Like against Blackburn, it wasn't like we got unlucky. It's just, they were better than us. So yeah, I'm not sure what the main difference is between our home and away form, but there's definitely something there.
Do you think it's the way that you approach games? Is there a difference in the setup and how you approach home games compared to away games?
Yeah. Also, I think other teams are a bit more confident as well. Like it does feel like when a team comes to Elland Road, it's often to, like damage limitation. Whilst when we go like away from home, I think teams feel like they can get at us. I think it's more a difference of mentality. Like Daniel Farke is pretty consistent with his starting lineup and the tactics, but yeah, it just seems at home we're a lot more confident and we just kind of know we're going to win, or know we're going to be like the more dominant side. While away from home, you get those nerves kind of going in. It just doesn't feel quite as fluid. It's hard to describe, but I don't think there's like a massive change in like the tactical setup.
I think as well, when you look at Leeds' team, it's clear the quality that Leeds possess, like each individual player. But so you've got every reason to be confident at home, and realistically, I think even away from home, most games, excuse me, you should go into and have that sort of confidence that you'll be able to get 3 points for it. But from the team, from the sort of regular starting 11 and the substitutions that come on, who would you say are the danger men, the real key players that could be the difference between you maybe getting automatics, falling into the playoffs? Who are those really important players in the starting 11?
Well, the key player is Ethan Ampadu. Like as soon as he comes back, I think that could be the difference between like a playoff, like, you know, top of the playoffs or automatic promotion. He's just when he comes back, you know, the other midfielders can kind of go further forward because they've got that confidence. He's just kind of like it's like obviously he's a very different player to Rodri, but like the impact he can have in midfield is so big just because of like the freedom he gives other players, and he just never has like a bad game. Like he just drops 8 out of 10s constantly. So Ethan Ampadu is definitely kind of the guy in midfield. I think in attack, Ramsani. We've not actually seen the best of him yet, but he's the attacker I'm most excited about, I'd say, because we signed him from Spain, and you know he scored some really good goals there. I think he scored against Real Madrid, and he just looks like a player who has a lot of quality. So when he gets going, because that's the thing, him and Ampadu, they've had like, you know, small injuries which have just stopped them from kind of being in the team. So when they get back, that could be they could be really good. But the best player this season's been Ao Tanaka, who we signed for 3 million from the German team. I've forgotten the German team, but yeah, he's been quality.
And I mean, I think I have to mention Jayden Bogle. Obviously, he came through Derby's academy. How's he been getting on at Elland Road? Because he's a player that I think he burst onto the scene really at Derby. I think he was 18 when he came through as a right back, and always a really attacking presence in the team. Maybe a little bit naive defensively when he was 18. How is he now?
Yeah. No, I think he's really good. Yeah, I think they're a great signing, to be honest. Like often in attack, he's just so good. Like when we've got him and Firpo fit, those wing-back positions are perfect. I think if we got promoted to the Premier League, then it's kind of a different, you know, then the defensive side comes into it more. Because like Firpo now, like everyone loves him at left back in the Championship. It's one of like the fan favourites. But in the Premier League, his defensive like weaknesses got exposed so much. And I could see like a similar thing happening with Jayden Bogle, just because you are defending like way more when you're in the Premier League. So yeah. So at the moment, I think he's great. And when he's fit, we just play better. So yeah, no, he's a really good signing.
I guess, to be fair, when especially nowadays, when you see Derby County at home as a fixture coming up, there's not really a lot of worry that settles in at the moment, given we've just come up from League One, and you know the difference in between the stature of the two clubs at the moment. But are there any players from Derby's team that you're a little bit naive to face that you think could cause you a problem, or are you pretty confident that you've got enough to?
Oh no, there's never a game I'm like totally confident for, because even when, you know, everything seems to be going for you, then I'm like, oh, it's too inevitable win. So this is the one, you know, we can slip up. I think Ebu Adams, he looks really good for you guys. I saw he got a goal recently, and he seems to be kind of, you know, dangerous. I was looking at the Derby squad, and it does look like it's got a lot of sort of Championship like regulars in there. It's not, you know, sometimes you look at a squad and they've got a lot of names where you may not have seen them, and you're like, okay, they're probably, you know, a bit naive, but it looks like you've got a really like experienced squad, and like you're doing pretty well in the league, kind of mid-table, when I think a lot of people at the start of the season would have had Derby, you know, not in those positions, maybe closer to the relegation battle. So I think it will be like a much tougher fixture than it might look on paper.
Yeah, I think you are right in a sense that a lot of people, and I think including myself, would have expected us to be a little bit further down the table.
Yeah,
Jesus. At this point in the season,
yeah.
But obviously we've had a few games now where we've really disappointing defeats. We lost at home to Sheffield Wednesday, and that felt like a real kick in the teeth.
Yeah.
We lost at home to Swansea when they only had 2 shots on target. They both came in the first 15 minutes of the game, and then we just peppered the goal and nothing fell for us. Yeah. Before that, we drew with Preston. So we've been dropping points recently against teams that, if we want to be mid-table and want to survive comfortably, then we need to be taking points there. And it does feel that December now is looking very rough for Derby. We've got Leeds home and away. We've got Burnley. We've got West Brom. We've got Luton. It's a really tough month. So I think if we get to the end of December and we're not in the relegation zone, that would probably be a success. with how tough the fixtures are and how tight knit the table is down there at the moment. But it's definitely, it's also typical Derby that we'd lose to Sheffield Wednesday and Swansea at home and then somehow nick 3 points at Elland Road and then go back to losing again. But
Portsmouth they scored 3 at Elland Road.
Yeah, they did.
So, and also I feel like Derby are probably this season a team that's like better set up for counter-attacking. So sometimes like the stronger teams actually plays into your hands. So, and also I do like Paul Warne as a manager. Like, he's definitely, he's not like perfect, but he's a great kind of, he gives off a good vibe, and his teams always seem to be set up fairly well.
I think it's that sort of personable approach, when he has the interviews, he just speaks and says it how it is. He's not, he doesn't really shy away from saying things. And I think Derby fans probably do appreciate the honesty there, I'd like to think. But then obviously he's got his promotion. He got his promotion back to the Championship, and his job this season, as far as I'm aware, is to keep us up. It doesn't matter if it's pretty. But that's the mic. What is going wrong in this episode?
Getting attacked.
I'm coughing, I'm spluttering, and my mic is attacking me. What an episode this has been. Speaking of the game at Elland Road, speaking about how you think it maybe could play into Derby's hands with the counter-attacking sort of looking to break on the counter, are there any other weaknesses in Leeds' team that you think Derby could or should try to exploit?
Well, I think until Ampadu comes back, that midfield, to be honest, if you can't get the ball, then that midfield is going to be like very, so we've got Rothwell and Tanaka in the middle, who, incredible passing, but they're maybe not as defensively minded as like Ampadu. So on the counter-attack, if you do have the ball, then that's definitely an area you could exploit. I think there's definitely some defensive frailties, like on an individual level. I think as a team, like the team setup is really good for kind of, not making those defensive mistakes, but the actual defenders we have, they've still got like errors in them. So I'm thinking like Firpo, he's a very attack-minded fullback, but he's still got like an error in him, and kind of the same on the other side. But defensively, we've been pretty good this season, just in general. I think it's just because of how much we have the ball and like the way we have like the opposition camped in their half, especially at home. But I think on an individual level, there's still definitely mistakes in the defence, which is why it's so against like Swansea. We did win 4-3, but conceded 3 goals against them. So it's definitely not like a impenetrable defence. I would say weaknesses is probably more in an attacking sense from Leeds. Sometimes, you can have all this dominance and then not convert. Like Pirro has been a bit hit and miss. Joseph has great sort of underlying numbers. And it feels like at any moment he's going to explode, but it's still not happened yet. So yeah, I think there's not many weaknesses at this level. Like I still think sort of, overall we've been sort of like the better or the best team in the Championship, but there's definite, I'd say it's more like a mentality thing. Like if you go 1-0 up, that's when you'll see our weakness at breaking you down. I think, say if we score the first goal, it's going to be very hard to find those weaknesses. So it's about Derby kind of starting really brightly. And if you can get that first goal and then make it really difficult, that's when you'll probably see the weaknesses in our squad.
Fingers crossed for that then. But, so I think we're getting sort of towards the end of the episode now. I think one thing I probably want to touch on is obviously Derby and Leeds has been a pretty good history there of some pretty entertaining fixtures. Obviously, there's a few that spring to mind straight away for me, but from your perspective, any Derby versus Leeds games that really stand out to you, good or bad?
Oh, no, I've definitely got one. It was that game where you had that comeback under Lampard because I was on my year abroad. So I was watching, like, basically my flatmate was from Taiwan and he'd never watched football. I was trying to get him into it. So I was like, oh, come watch this game and you can support whoever the opposition is. And at the start, it was great, like, whatever. But then that just ridiculous comeback happened. And then he was chanting like "Go Rams," and I was like, "This is the lowest point of my like football watching history." I had to send him out. I think I was just like, right, "I'm done with this. Like, I can't hear "Go Rams" anymore. You're gonna have to leave." But yeah, so that comeback was pretty. At that point, I was like, it doesn't get worse than this, so But yeah. That was definitely to be fair, we've had a lot of memorable games against you. Mainly when Frank Lampard was manager, the whole Bielsa Gate thing, which I mean just became ridiculous that season.
I mean, this game, I think it's the first time we've played each other since 2019, I think.
Yeah.
So it's been pretty much 5 years, which is crazy to think. I didn't realise how long it had actually been since we faced off against each other. But obviously we face you on Saturday. What is your prediction? Can I get a prediction from you for the game?
As I'm on a derby, podcast, I can't go too bad. I think I'll go 2-0 to Leeds because we have been so consistent at home. Like if we don't win our home games, that's when I'm worried because then I'm like, we're not winning our away games. So we need to win those ones. So, but I think derby will be a harder test than like a lot of Leeds fans think. And, from watching your games and kind of seeing how you've been getting on, there's been no point where you're not like Plymouth who just get like battered at home. You are actually really competitive. Even if you're not winning or, even if you're losing, they're very like tight losses. So I think it will be a tough game. And if you get the first goal, then all bets are off really. But I do think, 2-0 is what I'm hoping for anyway.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And finally, for away supporters going to the ground, maybe going for the first time, maybe been a few times, are there any tips you can give away supporters going to Elland Road? Maybe places to drink, places to park, just anything helpful. I might put you on the spot a little bit there.
No worries. Yeah, no, there's actually really good kind of food options, I'd say, around. The fish and chip shop next to Elland Road is great. I've forgotten the name of it. One second, let me have a look. Yeah, Gravely's fish and chip shop. That's really good. And then you've got like a McDonald's. I remember the first time I went to Elland Road, I had McDonald's for breakfast next to the ground, and then we couldn't find anywhere, so I had it for lunch and then dinner. So I had 3 McDonald's. It's right next to Elland Road, so that's really kind of convenient. And then there's just loads of kind of good pubs, especially in the city centre. Yeah, but yeah, the fish and chips. That's what I'd go for.
Nice one. I mean, that pretty much takes us to the end of the episode. So if you have watched, if you've listened, enjoyed it, then thank you. Leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe, do all of that. Check Billy out if you want to see his take on the game. I'm sure there'll be a few tweets or something about the game at the weekend. So there we go. Thank you for listening. And we'll see you again soon. All the best.